It's just like, welcome to Tucson, Arizona. Yeah, it's like here, like strap and all that BS. It's just like, yeah.
So the repairs are done on the XMAXX. Lots of upgrades, lots of updates to give on the $200 XMAXX. If you don't know, these are like $1,200-$1,300 new, and I picked this guy up for $200. It had a different body, so I had the original body. It's just a max. It's not an ultimate. Had the standard tires and wheels. Had the standard everything, all basic, except aftermarket motor. So I had the upgraded 8S motor, and then Hobby Wing ESC. So it tells me that the original ESC and motor in this thing probably got cooked. Something died. I don't know, because there was a lot broken in this truck when I got it. But the motor in ESC is really strong. So I've only run it on 8S once, and the rear tires exploded immediately because this truck clearly sat in storage for quite a while. So, new body. And then something my buddy picked up on, and I don't know where he learned it, but he definitely passed on good information. Line your new shells every time you get a new body for an RC. If you're an RC person and you're watching this, line it with Flex Seal. So I let this cure for 2 or 3 days after I lined it. So I didn't take all of the internal shielding out, the frame. I did take out the entire rear for the clipless set. I took out all of this. I did not take this out. That's why there's white lines, because that's where I taped it, so it wouldn't seal to the shell. And then I did tape all around the front and then spray in there. But the Flex Seal is it's still gonna have a lot of play to the body. It does add a little bit of weight, but it gives it strength. It helps reinforce it, because if you're an RC person, again, this is mostly for everybody, but if you're an RC guy, you know, all these little creases and everything, you start taking impact and you start crinkling your body, you start twisting, and you start like tearing the shell. And once you tear in a corner or an odd shape, because this has got, I know there's glare and like mud, but it's got a lot of shapes to this body, and you start picking up big stress fractures on impact over time, and eventually everything starts to crack, and then your body goes to hell. On the previous XMAXX body that I had, the entire rear end is caved in and collapsed. They clearly took off the rear, that top guard. They had removed that, so the body didn't have it. Otherwise, these things will take a pretty good beating before they really start to fall apart on you. So the electronics, Hobby Wing ESC, so that's aftermarket motor, so clearly something died at some point. As far as I can tell, it's got the stock shocks, but they still work great. Got the spring covers on it. I just replaced the front. I think it was the front bumper, all these brackets that hold the front bumper. I just replaced all of that. GPM gears, I think I talked about that already. And then I know I'm going to probably splice this together with the other video where I show the rear end gears, but the entire rear end's done now. Let's see. So through it all, it's running great now. The next step, I've only been running it on 6S since doing all these replacement parts, because if I'm going to have something break, I'd rather have it break at a lower torque value than a higher torque value, because these things tend to go boom when things go really bad. So I made a list. I've been slowly making this for the XMAXX. I've had to do a lot of math to figure out bearings for upgraded parts I put in here, needed different bearings. So the truck itself only cost me $200. which I've been looking for an XMAXX my entire adult life. So let's see, I bought my boys their first big Traxxas RCs 10-ish years ago, and I've been looking for an XMAXX for about 14 years. I've never seen one for $200 ever. I've seen a few for 500. Again, just basic XMAXX, not the XRT with all the aluminum and upgrades and stuff. I've never seen one for $200. So this is like the holy grail for me. This was the dream truck, and I got it for an amazing price, especially to be a complete truck. Now the tires were in crap condition. One of them was already torn. One of them was a replacement and was glued on backwards. The original stock tires are directional, and they glued one on backwards. And no matter how you put it on the truck, it left you with a tire somewhere in a backwards orientation. But I had a body. The body was trash. I still have it. It's my test body. Whenever I'm going to go do something and test new upgrades, and I might wreck it or roll it or something might break, I throw the test shell back on it. So yeah, $200 truck. I've done a full stainless kit in it. And then every time I tear it apart, if I find another screw that isn't stainless, I swap that out. The body, so stainless kit was like $35. Body was $100. The last bearings I had to order, there was 17 by 26 by 5 mil, were $8. GPM front and rear diff gears, $57 for that kit. GPM center diff gear was $30. The main center drive shaft was $13. The center shaft carrier, so I've got under this center plate. So your main drive shaft runs through here. And right in the middle is like a 4-inch long aluminum mount that's got bearings on the either end of it to support the center of the center drive shaft. So as this thing's twisting and turning and everything, the drive shaft isn't flexing too far away from true, because the guy I got this from believed he kept cooking gears because there was something wrong with the center shaft. I couldn't find anything wrong with it. You can roll it across a countertop and it doesn't wobble, but I figured, screw it, I'm replacing the main gears, replace the center shaft. But like I said, $13, $18 for that carrier. The tires on sale, all 4 tires and rims, cost me $140. The center diff lock that I just replaced, that was plastic, is now metal. That cost me $16. The new cups for the rear, those were $20. The spider gear kit for the rear end that grenaded on me on vacation at Buc-ee's, that was $14. The aluminum diff case, I upgraded when I did this rear end a couple days ago. That was $15. The front bumper assembly, that was $10. Hex nuts for the wheels, which are these Captain America stars. It was $13. And then I bought some pin retainers for $6. There's certain parts of this that have a screw, and they got this little metal cup that goes over to keep a pin from sliding out. Just a better reinforcement, $6. So my total on the $200 XMAXX so far, with all the parts I've thrown at it, is $694. So I am into a $1,300 truck for $700. And I might need to replace a few more things, but I mean, you don't get the parts I put on this truck stock. Even the XRT doesn't come with the parts I've put on this thing. The XRT, as far as I know, doesn't come with a stainless kit. It doesn't come with the center shaft carrier. It doesn't come, as far as I know, that center diff is plastic still. I could be wrong. I haven't researched that enough yet. They don't come with the helical GPM gears in the front and rear diffs. But it does come with aluminum hubs, aluminum arms, a bunch of aluminum stuff. The problem is as I've said before, once you start going with aluminum arms, the wishbones, you start breaking your main assemblies. So then you're swapping out bulkheads, which I just had to finish doing on my Max. And I've done like 3 on the Max, and I've done 1 on this truck because when I got it, it had a broken rear bulkhead, I think, but the guy already had a new one in the bag. So I had a ton of spare parts that this thing came with. I've got a few wishbone arms. I've still got some other plastics, random plastic parts. So I do still need this top center cage assembly. Yeah, it's full of dirt. So the other day when I was test driving it, it was raining a little bit, so it got dirty. But this assembly that goes around, you can tell right here, that's broken, right? That should be complete. And then it runs all around the front. So it's just a little tube, hard plastic tubing, but it's one piece. That's broken. I'd like to replace that. At some point, I might do a tower-to-tower support bar, just so when I come down and flex, I'm not breaking anything, just help support everything. I'm never going to do a wide max kit on it because already going to these bigger rims and lower sidewall, I don't have as much ballooning, so it's harder to drive on 2 wheels on the side. Like, it's harder to get it up to do this. When these things come with the factory tires and rims, they balloon out enough that you can easily be driving, jerk your steering side to side, and get the truck up on 2 wheels and drive sideways. And you can do that once you're good at it, you can do it for a very long time. These don't really allow it to do that well. They're kind of stiff. They don't balloon out. So when you come up, you've got a smaller patch, so you don't have that balloon tire to kind of catch and give you more surface area. But yeah, this thing's freaking awesome, and it's running great now. So there's only a few minor things here and there. I do want to do aluminum hubs, just so if I do big impacts, those will survive. And then, yeah, the little piece up there, eventually I'll replace the bumpers themselves because these are not bad, but they're a little chewed up. I would like to replace the rear bumper assembly, at least the brackets, just because they're starting to pick up a little bit of flex in them. But overall, it's pretty much done. Like, all the big stuff. I may have to wind up doing another spider kit in the front, which was what, $8, I think I said. Yeah, $14. And I might do an aluminum diff casing up front too, just $15. So I might be into it. All in all, maybe another $80, $100 if I get really crazy and find something really cool that I want to do to it. But overall, it's pretty much done. So yeah, $200 XMAXX, $700. Ton of upgraded parts on it that are never going to be on any other version of the truck unless I put them on. And I couldn't be happier. Like, the dream truck, and the dream is coming true. Someday I'll probably wind up buying the non-belted original tires for it just to give it the balloon factor. But yeah, the next thing now is to run an 8S. And I might do that this weekend. We'll see. I'm also looking at maybe picking up a second XMAXX. I've found a few more for pretty cheap that are complete, that are supposedly in really good shape. So who knows? Might want to buying another dream truck. But I've also found a smoking deal on an XRT. And I've got the king of RCs. I kind of want the queen of RCs. So the XRT, if you're not familiar, is based on the XMAXX, but it's wider. So it's a wide max. It's a wide XMAXX kit, basically. But it's also lower center of gravity. So it handles high speed with a lot of agility. This thing starts to get a little crazy when you really start going. The XRT will do wheelies and stuff, but it's also easier to keep on the ground, especially if you adjust the punch and everything. You can keep it tighter to the ground. It's not near as, I think it's only half the height to this, like to the roof, but you still get a lot of ground clearance, and you get several more inches of width from outside of tire to outside of tire. Highly stable, and I found a few of those at a smoking deal, and that's a $1,400 truck. I think they're 12 something, but they don't come with batteries. I don't believe they come with a radio, and they don't come with a charger. And I found one for about $500 under like new value, or new sale value. He claims it's only been run 4 battery cycles, so you're talking maybe 2 hours of runtime. And he's got 2 very good batteries, high-end 4-cell batteries, and a really nice like $130 charger and radio, and a complete truck that's never been really beat up. The pictures of it are super clean, and it's really cheap for what it is. So I think there might be some XRT in my future, and at that point I might wind up selling one of my other open wheels. I think I might sell the Creighton at that point. We'll see. Haven't decided yet. But I've run this a little bit on 6S. It's been a lot of fun. I can't wait to run it on 8S. But yeah, update. $200 XMAXX. Wound up costing me $700, and it's hard to find them that cheap.